Welcome everyone. This is episode 4 of the WUSHKA Getting Started series. Today is all about data and statistics. We'll be looking at how you can use WUSHKA to measure your students' progress and engagement. Starting on the Program Coordinator dashboard, if you click into the Overview section, here you have a basic snapshot of the WUSHKA users in your entire school. You can break them down by year group using either a column graph or a donut graph, or you can have a look at individual students within each year level. If you jump into the Notifications section of the PC dashboard, this is going to give you some information about who's logging into WUSHKA. You can filter it by coordinators, teachers and students, and you can also sort by particular timeframes. Now we'll jump into the Teacher dashboard to see some of the data and statistics that we have there. So the three main places where you'll look on this dashboard for your data is class statistics, student statistics, and reader records. In the class statistics section, I have an overview of all of the readers in my class, just giving a bit of a glimpse of their reading. I can break this information down to the current school year, or if your school has been with WUSHKA for a number of years, you can see all that information as well. Over the side here, you can see what your students are reading during school hours, so between the hours of 8:30 and 4, and you can compare this with what they're reading at home. This could be a good way to compare how specific contexts affect your students' reading. Next up, we'll jump into the student statistics section. Now this page dives even further into the data of each individual pupil. On our line graph, if we click on More, we'll have the details of what our students have been reading and when. And over in our column graph, we'll also be able to see what they've been reading each week. Some teachers like to use this weekly data as a bit of a review of what their students have done throughout Monday to Friday, as opposed to just looking day by day. But this information is great because it can give you some insight into how your students' reading is affected depending on what time of the day they're reading, and also depending on whether they're reading at home or whether they're reading at school with you in the classroom with them. Also on this page, if we scroll down, we can track their progress through the levels, see the percentage of books that they have completed reading. And over the side, we've also got some nice visuals, which gives us a bit of information about the choices our students are making with their reading. Down the bottom, this is where we can get some insight into their comprehension results. By using this graph, I can get a snapshot into what they got correct and what they got wrong, and also the specific responses that they gave. Now, down the bottom, this student statistics report is a great tool that some teachers like to use for parent-teacher interviews. This provides you with a printable PDF, which you could bring to a meeting with a parent to refer to when discussing your students' reading behaviours. If I jump into See All quiz results, this is going to give me even more information about my students' comprehension. So here I can see when they were reading, I can see the score that they got in their comprehension quiz, and I can also even see how long they were reading the book for by the time they got to the quiz. If I click View, this is going to let me see the responses that they actually gave. So here I'll be able to see, right, where did they go right and where were they wrong? And this is going to enable me to have a look for any common threads once I start to compare the other students in the class as well. Down the bottom here, you'll also see that you can get a PDF of this particular report too, and you can also get a PDF of all of this information for your entire class. Again, it could be good to print this out and have some evidence to refer to when you're discussing your students' reading. Now, just a reminder that all of the classes up the top are the classes which you have access to. So if you're the program coordinator, you'll probably be dragged and dropped into every single class, which means if you're hoping to get a bit of a snapshot of what's going on in your entire school with reading, you can actually flick through and have a look at the data and statistics of every single class just to get an overview. Next, I'll go into the reader records section. If you've had enough of the trouble of using an A4 piece of paper as the reader records for your students, look no further. This is going to solve that issue for you. So this page is going to break down who's read what, when did they read it, how long did they read it for, did they read it at all? I know sometimes when students at home, it's very difficult to actually gauge have they done their home reading or not. You can have a look at each individual student, or you can have a look at the class as a whole. Over the side, you can filter again based on what they're reading at school, so in between 8:30 till 4 versus at home. You can also filter the reader records based on what the reading groups have been doing. So if you've just finished literacy groups, but you didn't quite get a chance to get around to everyone, you can filter the records based on each group, and you can have a look at who read what and how long did they read it for. Thanks for joining. That's all for this week on Data and Statistics. Next week, we'll be looking at using WUSHKA in both the classroom and at home with a blended learning approach.